So I put together this presentation on hydration in older adults. Obviously, that's our audience here, so that's specific to you guys. I recently graduated with my master's in nutrition, so I'd like to bring more topics to you guys. This is just the first of many. If you have suggestions afterwards, a topic you would like to cover, get with me and we'll see what we can put together. So get to know H2O. The learning objectives for this presentation, you'll be able to understand the body's hydration needs specific to you. Know the signs and symptoms of dehydration, identify consequences of dehydration, and articulate strategies for maintaining hydration status and/or preventing dehydration. Hydration defined. So what does it mean to be hydrated? Hydration is the body's ability to absorb water, the vital liquid that it needs, and based on how much of it is available. Every cell, tissue, organ require fluid to perform functions such as maintaining temperature, disposing of waste products, and lubricating joints. So pretty important stuff inside the body. Dehydration, on the other hand, if I can get my clicker to work, is a condition that occurs when the body loses too much water and other fluids that it needs to function normally. So if you see on the right, that's dehydration. So there's not enough fluid, it begins pulling fluid out of the cells. In the middle, that's where your fluid is balanced, your external cellular fluid and your internal cellular fluid. And that's where the electrolytes play a big part. I won't get too specific, but hypernatremia, not as common, but it is possible to drink too much water and become overhydrated. And it starts pulling water into the cell, causing the cell to, well, it could rupture, but to expand. I think that's the word I wanted to use. So we got dehydration, anhydration, and hypernatremia. So how do we hydrate? One thinks of hydration, water likely comes to mind. The Earth's surface is approximately 71% water. Most of the human body is water. It varies depending on age and different things. The amount of water in the body can change slightly with age, varying hydration levels. However, water alone does not hydrate the human body. The reason is quite simple. The body doesn't know what to do with it. If it doesn't have the minerals, it's basically just dead water, like distilled water. If anybody has a CPAP machine, supposed to use distilled water, it does not have the minerals in it, they are removed. So if you were trying to survive on just distilled water, it wouldn't turn out very good. So the water in our bodies is the same saliency as the ocean, and it's loaded with minerals. The importance of minerals found in water cannot be overstated. Minerals such as calcium, magnesium, and potassium play a crucial role in maintaining proper bodily functions and overall health. It's essential to consume mineral-rich water to ensure that your body receives these important nutrients. How important is hydration? Well, water is the most essential nutrient for all living organisms. Sometimes we don't think of it as a nutrient, but it is. Staying well hydrated appears to contribute to better health, fewer chronic conditions like heart and lung disease, and a longer life. According to a study by the National Institute of Health, the results suggest that proper hydration may slow down aging and prolong a disease-free life. I think we all want that. As we age, what happens? Our hydration status can vary due to numerous factors, but three in particular that I've listed. The ability of our body to conserve water is reduced, making older adults more susceptible to dehydration. Additionally, the thirst sensation may diminish, leading to decreased water intake. Age-related changes to kidney function can also affect the body's ability to retain water. Therefore, it's important for older adults to pay close attention to their hydration status and ensure that they are consuming an adequate amount of fluids to maintain overall health and wellness. Who is at risk for dehydration? Technically, anybody could be, given the circumstance, but these particular situations, if they occur, someone with swallowing disorders, someone that's bedridden or immobile, excessive sweating, someone that suffers with incontinence, If you have chronic diseases greater than 4, you're at a higher risk of dehydration. The use of laxatives and diuretics, infection can even affect the hydration status, causing you to be at higher risk. Someone with dementia, because they may just not remember to consume fluids, so it makes them a higher risk. Obesity, diarrhea, I think that, and vomiting, pretty obvious. That's going to be dehydration from fluid loss, not an instance where you're just not taking enough in. Polypharmacy, if you take more than 4 medications, you're at a higher risk of dehydration. Over 85 years of age, someone with fever, institutionalization, and someone with comprehension or communication disorders. So if you have these things, you're even at a higher risk than just the risk that you're at because of age-related issues. Does that make sense? So it's compounded by these factors. So what does dehydration look like? What are the signs and symptoms that we're looking for if someone's dehydrated? Thirst, you may or may not experience that, but if you're thirsty, you can pretty much bet you're already dehydrated. I like to say don't wait until you're thirsty to drink. Drink consistently throughout the day so that you stay hydrated. Headaches, sunken eyeballs, swollen tongue, longitudinal tongue furrows, which I have a great picture of that. I'll show you in just a second. It's awesome. Decreased urination, fatigue and muscle weakness, decreased skin turgor, which we'll go over that too, as a self-assessment, a way you can kind of test yourself to check your hydration status. Dark urine, that's a really, if your urine is dark, and I have a little chart I'll show you in a minute, you need to seek medical attention or get a hold of somebody. The urine should not be dark in color. Aside from, well, I've got a chart I'll show you. I think we all perceive color a little differently, but if you're taking vitamins or something like that that's not being taken into the body, it can change the color of your urine. But these are very specific. If you're constantly urinating in a dark color, that's not a good thing. It means your urine is too concentrated if you're not hydrated. Weight loss, decreased functional ability. So these are things that someone might experience if they're in a state of dehydration, from not super extreme to much more extreme. Yes. 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 In fact, when someone comes into the gym and they tell me, I don't know, I'm just feeling really dizzy, the first question I would always ask is, are you hydrated? When's the last time you had water? And you'd be surprised. Sometimes people don't even know. They're like, oh, I don't know when the last, because they're drinking coffee or something else, but not really consuming water. So, but yes, the answer to your question is yes. Consequences of dehydration. Inappropriate dosage of medication. If you're not hydrated enough, your body doesn't absorb the things that you're taking in. So it can affect your dosage of medication. Even though the dosage you take may be right, what your body actually absorbs could be very different. Low blood pressure, nausea, vomiting, decreased urinary output, electrolyte disturbances, increased heart rate, constipation, dry mouth, mental confusion, elevated body temperature, and acute renal failure. That's the ultimate bad. So that's pretty extreme, but that comes from extreme dehydration. Eventually the kidneys will just fail. So the age-old question, how much water should I drink? I'm sure we've all heard the 8 glasses a day. Yeah, yes, no, anybody? Yeah. Doesn't really tell you what size glass, and I don't know if it even says 8 cups, but the notion that everyone needs to drink 8 glasses of water per day is a common misconception. The actual amount of water a person needs can vary depending on factors such as age, male, female, activity level, climate. While 8 glasses, which is the equivalent of 64 ounces, is a reasonable goal for most people, individual hydration can differ. So it's really not a one-size-fits-all. How much water you need to stay hydrated? As a general rule, you should take in 1/3 of your body weight. So just for ease of numbers, if you weigh 150 pounds, you should take in 50 ounces of water. So that's the equivalent of 1.47 liters, I believe. So you could take your body weight, take 1/3 of it, turn that into ounces, and that's a general rule of how much water you should take in per day. Additionally, you can monitor your hydration status by performing a self-administered nutrition-focused exam. That's what we're going to go over, the Skin Tugger nutrition-focused physical exam, looking for things like sunken eyes, skin turgor, edema, there's the skin furrows in the tongue, cracked lips, sunken eyes, longitudinal furrows in the tongue. I mean, that's pretty extreme dehydration, but that can occur for sure. And your skin, you hydrate from the inside out. So if your skin is showing external signs of cracking and being dry, it's probably a sign of some level of dehydration. Just a disclaimer, it's important to stay hydrated and seek medical attention if you are severely dehydrated. Yes. Nutrition-focused physical exam. This is one thing that you can do, and you can all try it right now. You take your hand or your arm, preferably the hand, and you're going to pinch the skin up, and you're going to let go of it. And after being released, within 5 to 10 seconds, the skin should return to normal. Go a little farther up the arm. If we have excessive skin on the hand, that's when you want to move farther up the arm, but you should be able to pinch the skin and let go of it, and it should return to its normal plasticity. If you pinch it and it stays together and elevated like this, that's a sign of dehydration. The real true test would be a urinalysis, something like that, but these are just things that you can do to kind of self-test your own hydration status. A urine chart. This is also a good self-assessment. So pale yellow to clear is normal and indicates you're well hydrated. Outside of other circumstances where you're taking medication that you know it discolors the urine. Does that make sense? Okay. Light pale and transparent is also normal and indicates ideal hydration. A pale honey transparent color indicates normal hydration, but it may mean that you're on that borderline that you need to rehydrate soon. A yellow, more cloudy color means your body needs water. A darker yellow is not healthy. Your body needs water, is trying to tell you. Orange or yellow, darker, you're severely dehydrated and you should contact a doctor. Yeah, that can occur also with rhabdomyolysis, if I could say it correctly. It's something that athletes experience sometimes where the body breaks down proteins faster than it can flush them out of the system, but it shows up in the urine like that, very dark. So either situation, it's important to contact somebody professional, because that's a big sign of severe dehydration. What are your challenges to adequate hydration? Anyone challenged? No challenges? Alcohol? Yeah. Alcohol is definitely a challenge to hydration because it has a dehydrating effect. It increases urination. Anybody? It depends. Different teas have different caffeine percentages in it. Anything with caffeine is going to be slightly diuretic in nature, so you just consume extra water for that. But it still adds to your total amount for the day. Yeah, but if you drank only caffeinated beverages, I would be concerned that you're not taking it enough. Does that make sense? Yeah. Milk? Yeah, milk has liquid in it, absolutely. And that one's on here too. So tips and strategies, I think some of this is on the little chart that you have, the little blue time clock. Set a daily fluid goal. So taking your body weight, doing the calculation of 1/3 into ounces, and set that as your target to consume per day, and then start really being conscientious and aware of how much you're actually taking in. So that's the first step, is awareness. And then schedule when to drink, like the little calendar there, the little time card. When are you going to drink water? Because if it's not something that you normally do, you want to start that pattern. So to get into the pattern, you repeat the behavior over and over, correct? Drinking water or beverages with meals, snacks, and medication. Keeping water nearby so that it's obvious and handy. Like I keep water on my bedside table because I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm thirsty. I don't have to get up. It's right there by the bedside. Small, frequent consumption is always better than large amounts at one time because the body just can't handle all of it at one time. So that's another tip. Palatability. I'm surprised no one said that as far as a challenge to hydration. I've heard people say they don't like water. I don't like the way it tastes. So palatability, that's the reason we have this lovely infused water over here today, just to show you that regular water with a little fruit in it sitting overnight can make a really nice beverage. And it does change the flavor a lot. It makes it more palatable. You'll be more encouraged to drink it. Another way to affect palatability is temperature of the beverage, depending on the season. Something warm in the winter, something cool in the summer. Adding flavors such as lemon, cucumber, or mint. We didn't put mint in these, but mint is also very nice when infused with water, I think. Sugar-free flavored beverages. I could do a whole nother topic on that. Sugar-free doesn't mean with fake sugar. It's sugar-free. Anyway, limit or avoid alcohol. That will be well received. Because alcohol, like caffeine, has a diuretic effect. One, we're not drinking fluid while we're drinking alcohol, and then we're urinating a lot, and then you end up in a very dehydrated state. And in fact, the hangover that you have in the morning is your dura around your brain telling you that it is being contracted because it doesn't have enough fluid. So that's the hangover after alcohol. Your dura, your brain matter. Fluid-containing foods. This also counts for the daily count of fluid intakes. Lots of foods have fluid, like cucumbers, for instance, have a high percentage of water inside of them. So eating things like that help. Proper hydration, let's see. Foods that contain a lot of water include many fruits and vegetables, some dairy, someone asked that, broths and soups as well. Definitely a broth. Soups depend, could have more or less, but I have a chart here too. So percentage of water based on the type of fruit. So vegetables are on one side, fruits are on the other side, and then it gives you their respective percent of water. And I can print this out too if anybody wants this copy to take with them. But you can kind of see it, strawberries, watermelons, pretty high percent, grapefruit, cantaloupe. Then you start dropping down to the 80s, but still, they have a pretty high percent water inside them. So that gives you some options there. And then my references. Yeah. Any questions?
Yes, I'm interested in, you talked about being overly hydrated.
Yes.
So how do we control that? I mean, what if, I drink a lot of water.
Yeah.
How do I know if I'm drinking too much?
Do you know how much water you are drinking in a day? She's asking about overhydration. How would she know if she's overhydrating? And my answer to that would be, it would be very uncomfortable for one thing. I think to get to a point of hypernatremia, you are going to be pretty uncomfortable leading up to that point. If you're urinating and your urine volume is fine and your skin tests are good, you're probably right where you need to be. And then if you're going to make adjustments up or down, make small adjustments. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And what about what about the electrolytes and all of the things that you need, whatever minerals you need? Can you wash all of that out and then you don't have it in you anymore? Where do we get the minerals from the water?
Yes, that's
my question.
Yes, you can get into a state where your mineral inside your body, and it's actually a sodium-potassium pump that is inside the cell that balances the sodium outside and the potassium inside. And those things can get out of balance for a variety of reasons. But when that happens, even if you're drinking water, unless it's really high in mineral content, it's not going to rehydrate you. So that's why something like a supplement would come into play, certainly. I drink one of those about every third day just because our food supply doesn't have the nutrients in it that it once had. So sometimes we're short on those things. Table salt is just sodium. I use a Celtic sea salt at home because it has 85 different minerals in it. And when you consume it that way with all the minerals that are together with it, it's processed differently in the body as opposed to just taking in sodium. And most of the sodium in a diet is coming from food. It's added into foods and it's table salt. So yes, you can get depleted of your electrolytes, and that's when it's important to replenish. A situation where you're drinking too much water would be, for this audience, would be probably very unlikely. So, you usually see that in an athlete, right? And they've been out, they're exercising, and they overhydrate. Usually there are signs very, very early on that that's what's occurring, so. Yes?
You said something about, you could say a lot more about the flavored drinks.
Uh-oh.
Could you say a little more about the flavored drinks that you were either concerned or not concerned about?
For me personally, flavored drinks that have lists of ingredients, colorations, dyes, artificial sugar, or sugar are a no consume for me.
Is there anything less?
Yes, infused water, options like this, even though it does have stevia in it, stevia is not an artificial sweetener, it actually comes from a plant. These are colored with beets or whatever vegetable they need to get the coloration so it doesn't have dyes. Red number 3, yellow number 60, that type of thing. So, not to pick.
They always said bad things about red dyes when I was raising children. Don't let your kids have red dyes, and that's a very difficult thing to do. Is there anything that does give you substitute for water that you don't need to infuse something in it that's not a problematic ingredient? Like tea or Coca-Cola or something like that?
I would say no to the Coca-Cola. Tea, on the other hand, yes, and a green tea has a lower caffeine intake than regular tea, so the lower the caffeine in it, the more hydrating it's going to be. It's still going to hydrate you. If you were caught in the wilderness and all you had was Nestea iced tea, you would survive with that. But to get optimal hydration, we look at a perfect world scenario, and there's not a perfect world. So, but for me, in my house, we got rid of the Gatorade and the Prime and all these different things because my son actually suffers with ADHD symptoms. And I have found that cleaning his diet up and removing those things as best I can, I mean, he's still a 14-year-old, he goes to school and he's exposed to things, but has made a significant difference. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Carrie, could you comment on Gatorade? I think a lot of us like that, the regular Gatorade and zero Gatorade. Be kind.
Oh, boy. Here comes the rabbit hole. For me, in my house, we don't consume that. And I don't have one here with me that I can look at the ingredients on it, but I know that Gatorade is one that they've listed that has the dyes and colorants in it, for sure. So that's one thing. Regular Gatorade, lots of sugar. The zero, I think they're using sucralose. Don't quote me on that, because again, I don't have a bottle here in front of me. But to me, I would rather just drink water with some Celtic sea salt in it. Just a little sprinkle of Celtic sea salt. And that would be a lot better option.
Just recently I read that there had been a study, and they had used apple juice as opposed to Gatorade, and apple juice did better for all of whatever, and it did not disturb your intestines and blah, 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 so.
Apple juice. Yes.
Okay, on the little flavored packages, what about something like Propel? Is that the same?
You have to look at the ingredients. So I couldn't, I know there's tons of products out there. What you're looking for is something that doesn't use artificial colorants, doesn't use artificial sweeteners, and has the fewest amount of ingredients possible. So if you're looking for electrolytes, you're looking for something with sodium, potassium, magnesium. Everything else under there is an extra ingredient that it doesn't need. It could be a non-caking thing. It could be, it goes on and on. But the fewer the ingredients, the key things that you're looking for, and none of the dyes and colorants and fake sugars and or sugar. So I'm sure there are other brands than this. This is just the one that I like. So
And is this local?
yeah, you can go right on Amazon. They sell it on Amazon. They actually, this is a whole nother thing. They make nutrition bars too that I really like. They only have 4 ingredients in them, and they're helpful. I put those in my son's backpack. He takes those to school. So, but they make the iCube. They make bars and they make the drink mix.
We drink sparkling water every day. Is it, what do you think?
Sparkling water is perfectly fine. You're just adding carbon dioxide to the water. I drink sparkling water all the time too. Where you get into trouble, or could get into trouble, is if it's sweetened. Right.
We can put lots of lime in there.
That's perfect. Because even the ones that are flavored, which I am guilty of drinking, I'll be honest right here, it says natural flavors. I don't know what that is. And it doesn't say. It doesn't say what it is. It just says natural flavors. But if you drink just the regular plain carbonated water that's not flavored, and you put lemon or lime or whatever in it, that's perfect. Yeah.
I just have a comment.
Yes. You have to comment into the microphone.
I was told the last time I've been sick, as you know, anyhow, to drink water with stuff in it, nutrients in it. And they had a water down there, life water down there. And it was in my Dining Dollars Super. I drank 2 of those a day, and they took that out of Dining Dollars. So now it's a matter of principle. I'm not buying life water. I just wondered why. Why would they take that one out of Dining Dollars and they left the other ones in?
I don't know the answer to that. I did not consult with me, and I honestly can't speak to what's in life water. I don't know the ingredients of that either.
It's magnesium and,
So it has some electrolytes in it.
yeah, that's
Is it colored?
no.
I would have to look, and I'll look into that, and I'll tell you what I think about it. But as far as whether it's covered under Dining Dollars or house account, that's outside my pay grade. Yes.
I heard, if you're buying smart water, it's not working.
So I think the Smart Water premise, their selling point is alkalinity. Is that correct? That it's alkaline water, and it's impossible to change your pH by consuming water. The way you do that is to take your shoes off and walk on the ground, the earth. The magnetic force of the earth changes your charge. It's a charge. Alkalinity is a charge. So I'm sure it's water. It's hydrating. It's great. Again, if you're wherever, we could get into microplastics, but I don't think you want to know about that. So it's a rabbit hole. It really is. And so today is really just to give you a reminder about hydration status, and something is always better than nothing. And in a perfect world scenario, when you can control your environment and the things that you put into your body, the less garbage you put in, the less garbage you'll get out. And we live in a world where they put it in everything. It's buyer beware. And they'll market it to you like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. We could get into bread too, but don't get me started. So, yes. Yes.
I drink over a quart of skim milk a day. Is that, it's skim milk, it's just skim milk.
Skim milk
It's
is
okay.
pretty much water.
Well, it's no fat is what it is. People think water's added, it really isn't, it's just the fat
They
taken
take
out.
the fat out.
But
yeah.
but
So that
everything-
leaves liquid, right? Which
Yeah.
is your percent of
Yeah.
water.
Yeah, okay.
It's absolutely fine. Yeah. Anyone else? Yes.
Could you comment on the apple juice?
My comment on apple juice is very high in sugar. Now, if someone is suffering from dehydration, would I give them apple juice right away? Absolutely. But using that as your main source to daily hydration, I wouldn't recommend it because the amount of sugar that's in it. When you drink a glass of apple juice, it's like 15 apples in one glass. No one would ever sit down and eat 15 apples. I don't think. 15 ice cream scoops, maybe, but not apples. So you're getting an exorbitant amount of sugar that you wouldn't get from nature, and it just the body can't handle it. We've got so much diabetes and pre-diabetes that, yeah. Even if it's not added sugar, there's a lot of sugar just already there. Yeah, so it'll say no sugar added, but there's already 48 grams of sugar in it. And it's natural occurring sugar, but it doesn't occur in that volume in an apple, one apple. Does that make sense? What is this? Oh, smart water. Okay. They have a little disclaimer here that says electrolyte sources with an asterisk. We don't know. Nobody knows. Other than that, I don't see anything alarming, but again, they're not disclosing what is actually in it. And that's something you always want to look out for. Yes,
Will
ma'am?
you print out that chart with the foods and
Yes. If you want copies of any of this stuff, you can come up to my desk. I'll print out whatever you'd like to take with you. Yes.
Similar to apple juice, it's high in sugar,
Absolutely.
the diet, and then it's got bulk sugar.
Correct. Yeah. All fruit juices are going to be the same way. They're going to be very high in sugar. So the benefit you get from it, even, we've all been taught, right? Vitamin C, there's more vitamin C in a serving of spinach than there is in a glass of orange juice. It's beautiful marketing. It really is. But the reality, if you drink it once in a while, it's whatever. But if you're drinking it every single day and you want to lose weight or you want to monitor your blood sugar, these things are not helpful. Does that make sense? Yeah. Sorry. I'm not going to be anybody's favorite person today. Okay?
Is that a good idea or not?
Absolutely. Using something to filtrate your water is super important, and that goes into a whole nother thing of what toxicity is in the tap water. And again, that's deeper breadth than this topic right here. But I personally don't drink tap water. We have a filtration system in our house that filters all the water that comes into the house. And Brita, a tableside one, is great because it's gonna get all the metals and all the other things out of the tap water so that you're drinking a pure.
Something for the electrolyte?
It doesn't strip it of electrolytes. It only gets out contaminants. Yeah. Yeah. It should. But if you're making ice, I guess if you make ice, it comes through the filter. Yeah. Yeah. Our refrigerator's filtered, but we have an external filter that's by the water softener that filters all the water coming in. Yeah, those are great to have. Yeah. And again, tap water will hydrate you, but tap water can be contaminated. It comes through the pipes, so.
our filter system, I think a lot of us have refrigerators.
Yeah.
Does the filter system?
Yeah.
Takes out.
It should. You can check on the filter. It tells you what it removes, but it's certainly way better than what would come out of the tap, by far. Yeah. Thank you guys for being here. Again, there's some lovely infused water and some electrolyte samples.